In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. And even if I live to be 1,000, it still will not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. I praise no other in my good fortune, and I confide in no other in my time of need. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my people in the streets, what's good with you? And to my Black conscious family, hotep. Once again, this is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share to the channel. Subscribe and share. I'd like to thank everyone for supporting the channel and supporting me. Keep viewing. Get others to subscribe, especially those who don't know and who can benefit from these messages, and so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Today's topic is called Something Ain't Right, Andy, the mysterious deaths of Sam Cooke, Jimi Hendrix, and Bob Marley. I'm gonna say it again. Today's topic is called Something Ain't Right, Andy, the mysterious deaths of Sam Cooke, Jimi Hendrix, and Bob Marley. Yes, the Something Ain't Right, Andy comes from the old Andy Griffith show, and every time that cop seen something wasn't right, he went to Andy and said, "Something ain't right, Andy." And with this topic, which I'm gonna explain in detail if you just give me a couple minutes, something ain't right. It's a strange, spooky correlation between Sam Cooke, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, and then other hip hop and R&B artists who just mysteriously passed away. And you about know who I'm talking about. But what sparked this in me, I did this before, but the reception wasn't good because it was on Facebook Live, but I have a little better technology now. I was in the grocery store getting me a smoothie because I drink smoothies in the morning, mostly banana smoothies. If you ever want to get some good, protein and potassium in you, make a good smoothie, kale and all that. We have to start eating better so we feel better. But anyway, I was getting some bananas and there was some brothers in there about my age. And one brother had a nice Bob Marley t-shirt on, and another brother came in and said, "Hey man, I ain't seen you in a while." And he said, "Man, that's a nice t-shirt you got." He said, "Yeah, Bob Marley, that was my dude back in the day." And then the other dude says, "Yeah, he could still be putting it down if he wasn't smoking all that goddamn weed and died." I'm like, wait, Bob Marley didn't die from weed? So the point I'm trying to make is a lot of our people are either uninformed or misinformed about our history or people who have sacrificed a great deal for us. They are either uninformed, meaning not knowing at all, or misinformed. Bob Marley died from weed. And then if you ask some old heads, people older than me that grew up during the time of Sam Cooke, what happened to Sam Cooke? Well, he was on a lot of drugs, wasn't he? Sam Cooke didn't die from drugs. So this is what inspired me to be on this topic. Like I said, I did it today. So this is actually the reloaded version of the mysterious death of Sam Cooke, Jimi Hendrix, and Bob Marley. Let's get into it and set the record straight, because they're among the realm of our ancestors, and all of them sacrificed a great deal for us, and they were very brave and bold. Let's get into it. Let's get it popping. Sam Cooke, one of the greatest R&B singers of all time, had great hits like Cupid, Twisting the Night Away, You Send Me, and then his most known song that even young bucks know about, A Change Is Gonna Come. And yes, Sam Cooke, bless your soul, a change is gonna come. All right, so back in the late 50s, he was with different groups, and then as he started moving along, I believe, because he died in 64, it was around 58, 59, or 60, he started his own record label called SAR record label. He went independent. Oh boy. Oh boy. So he broke away. He was the first R&B black artist to have his own record label. He went independent. And then this man by the name of Alan Klein came in and signed this 5-year deal with him. I believe it was in 1960. And somehow he got intertwined with Sam Cooke. But Sam Cooke did a very bold thing. He went independent. He went independent and started his own record label, which you're going to see a trend with that as I keep speaking. Fast forwarding to December 11th, 1964, the day our great brother Sam Cooke was taken away from us. He's at this Italian restaurant called Maroni's with some friends of his. This little Asian girl walks in named Alicia Boyer. She was 22 years old. At the time, Sam Cooke was 33. Some reports say that he had known her from before, and other reports say he met her that same night. So he starts talking to her, and they go to this nightclub called PJ's. Sam Cooke supposedly gets into an argument with some white dudes because the white dudes was trying to talk to the girl he was with named Alicia Boyer. They get into it, and supposedly Sam Cooke, in a rage, tells her to get into the car, and he speeds off down the highway in Los Angeles. This Lisa Boyer tells him she wants to go home, she's scared, and all this stuff. They end up around 11 o'clock p.m. going to, listen to this, the Hacienda Hotel in California, in Los Angeles. The Hacienda Hotel. The police report says that, in her account, says that he forced her into the hotel room, threw her down on the bed, started taking off her clothes and attempted to rape her. Stop right there. This man is world renowned, probably could get any woman he want, anytime he want. Why would Sam Cooke have to rape someone? He's never been arrested before for this kind of behavior. He's never been known to be violent. But anyway, let's go with the police report, what they say. He throws her down on the bed in a rage, trying to rape her. As he's trying to do this, she somehow, a little frail woman, slips away and runs out the room after half of her clothes is ripped off. No, let me back up. As he's raping her, somehow he gets up and goes to the bathroom. And that is what supposedly allowed her to slip out of the hotel room. He runs down, this is Sam Cooke now, runs down the hallway chasing, looking for her. Somehow she slips in some door or something. He comes across the Hacienda Hotel's manager, a black woman by the name of Bertha Franklin. And Sam Cooke supposedly asks her, where's this Alicia Boyer at? They get into a heated exchange, meaning Sam Cooke and his hotel manager, the black woman named Bertha Franklin. They get into a heated exchange. Sam Cooke supposedly gets physical with her. She pulls out a .22 caliber pistol, shoots twice at him and missed, and then connected on the third, fourth, and fifth try and hit him in the chest. And Sam Cooke is almost dead on the scene. And then she later testifies in court that he seemed like he was high on drugs, and Alicia Boyer, she sticks with this crazy story that he tried to rape her. But again, it was reports that he had already knew her before, and then it came out later she was a well-known prostitute, meaning this Alicia Boyer, and years later, in I believe 78 or 79, she was found guilty on attempted murder of a boyfriend, and she was known to be a prostitute at this Hacienda Hotel, the same one that Sam Cooke took her to and was supposedly trying to rape her, and she would charge $3 an hour. That must have been a hell of a lot of money in 1964. So Sam Cooke is murdered, or really assassinated, in December 11th, 1964 at the Hacienda Hotel. Here's the problem. Have y'all ever heard of the singer Etta James, where Beyonce did the rendition of her song At Last? She was good friends with Sam Cooke. Etta James says in one of her books, and I have to get the name of her books and her writings, when she went to visit the body of Sam Cooke a night or two after he was murdered, listen to this. His nose was dangling from his face, his hands was crushed, and his neck was almost severed from his shoulders. How in the hell can a .22 caliber pistol do all that damage to you? Because the police report said he died from a gunshot wound from this hotel manager named Bertha Franklin. How can a .22 caliber pistol do all that damage to you? Again, Etta James said that when she went to visit his body, his nose was dangling from his face, his hands were crushed, and his neck was almost severed from his shoulders. That sounds like a mafia hit. And talking about the mafia, they said that same Alan Klein was swindling money from his account, had rights to all his records, and Sam Cooke wanted to sever ties with him, and then he ends up dead. And then at the time when this happened, Sam Cooke was married to Barbara Cooke. She sold all his records and digital copies. Don't that sound familiar? I believe to Sony Records for almost nothing, almost like $2-3 million. And it was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And then she went off and married Bobby Womack. Yes, the same Bobby Womack with that song. If You Don't Know Me Now, Wait Until the Night Girl. Jodeci redid the song. Yeah, just left him, went with Bobby Womack. So she married Bobby Womack, who was the backup singer for Sam Cooke. Isn't that strange? And then sold off all his stuff for nothing. Sam Cooke was also involved in the civil rights movement. He was good friends with Minister Malcolm X. And he had supposedly told Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, if you guys settle your differences, I'll fund your movement to free our people. And he ends up dead, gets his own record company, starts his own record company, which is a bad trend for the music industry, and he ends up dead. Very, very strange. That's what happened to Bobby Womack. That man was assassinated. Your nose dangling from your face, your hands crushed. How does a .22 caliber pistol do that? And then this Alicia Boyer, sounds like a mafia hit. Why would he have to rape someone? And then this black woman shoots him, talking about he was in a fit of rage and she just had to shoot him. Then he has all these strange injuries recorded by Etta James. Something ain't right, Andy. Something ain't right. Moving along to our good brother Jimi Hendrix. Ask most people, what happened to him? A guitar, one of the best guitar players we ever seen. He was there in Manhattan in the 60s, active with the Black Panther Party and civil rights movement. But when he was there, he was doing little acts, going here and there, not acts, but doing little shows. But what really got him was the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King in 1968. And he said, boy, I don't know if I can stick around here. And he had heard what had happened to Sam Cooke. So he took his talents to London, England. And before he moved, you know, he was supposedly kidnapped in a Manhattan high rise in about 1964. Some mafia held him captive. And I'm going to tell you where you can get this information. So in the late 60s, he moves to London, England. And that's when his career just blew up. Great guitar player, Jimi Hendrix. He was touring all over the place, but he was still what? Involved in activism, black activism, even though he was in London, right? And he supported the Black Panther Party with Bobby Seale. Bobby Seale was a part of the Black Panther Party. You think the CIA liked that from him? No, they didn't. So in 1971, now let me let you know this, Jimi Hendrix had problems with insomnia and he used to take medication. One of the medications he took was called Seconal. So I'm going a little fast here because I want you to get all this information. He had a fiance by the name of Monica Denneman. This was Jimi Hendrix's fiance at the time. And again, involved in the civil rights movement and funded the Black Panther Party. And he had a manager by the name of Mike Jeffries, who is known to try to derail his activity, his activism in helping black people. Keep that in mind. In 71, the night before he passed away, well, the night before he was assassinated, in 71, he fired this Mike Jeffries. This man is known to be involved with CIA and, again, trying to derail his activity with the Black Panther Party. So he's at a party, Jimi Hendrix, in September of 1971. It is reported that someone came and tried to slip some pills in his drink and then tried to give him a handful of pills. And he said no. He goes home. The next morning, his fiance finds him unconscious on the floor, throwing up and bleeding from the mouth and all kind of stuff. The ambulance comes and gets him. The autopsy report says that he arrived at 12:45 at the hospital the next day after his fiance found him, but the autopsy report says he died on arrival at 11:45. So which one is it? And after they did a second and almost like a third autopsy on him, another doctor, I have to get that doctor's name, said with the amount of drugs that was in his system, he should have died on the spot, not the next morning found unconscious. And what happened to that first autopsy report when it says he died at 12:45, but then another report said he was dead on arrival at 11:45. What happened with that hour in between? But again, he fired his manager, this Mike Jeffries, the night before they found him dead. Do you see a connection here? And he went independent. He had fired him. He was going to go independent because he had learned from Sam Cooke that he didn't want no one. He wanted to go independent. Sam Cooke goes independent. He has this strange death. Now we got our brother Jimi Hendrix involved in activism. Sam Cooke involved in activism. Friends with Minister Malcolm and Martin Luther King was going to fund their movement to free our people. He ends up dead under strange circumstances. Now Jimi Hendrix, all this different reports with the autopsy report. You arrive at 12:45 and another report says you were dead on arrival at 11:45, and then all this drugs in your system. And they said he committed suicide on his autopsy report talking about Jimi Hendrix. He died from overdose of drugs and he died on his own vomit. Very strange. Our brother Bob Marley. And one more thing before I talk about Bob Marley. Let me read you this. I forgot this about Jimi Hendrix real quick. Jimi Hendrix's dad was Al Hendrix. It took Al Hendrix almost 25 years to gain rights. Now, his son died in 71, was killed in 71. It almost took Al Hendrix, which is Jimi Hendrix's dad, 25 years to gain rights to his son's music from Warner Brothers. And then it was albums, memorabilia, had made over 100 million in sales, but his dad was only given 2 million. So that was like around 1996. Again, I'm gonna repeat that. It took Al Hendrix, the father of Jimi Hendrix, almost 25 years to get his music from Warner Brothers, meaning Jimi Hendrix. It was albums, memorabilia that was worth almost 100 million in sales. He was given a measly $2 million. Mike Jeffries, which was his manager, stole his stuff just like they stole it from Afeni Shakur, which was Tupac's mother. Tupac had amassed tens of millions of dollars, and she had to split the money from CDs and uncut music from Tupac. Same thing happened to Al Hendrix trying to get his son's stuff. Okay? Mike Jeffries had stole it, went into his New York apartment, stole all his music. Monica Denneman, the fiance of Jimi Hendrix, was going to come out with a book in the mid-90s. She was found dead. And other friends who had intimate information about what happened to Jimi Hendrix, they also were found dead. Yes. Oh, Brother Shareef, where are you getting this from? I always have my proof. The FBI war on Tupac Shakur and black leaders. Get this book. I actually talked to the man who wrote this book. Is a white man by the name of John Potash. He wrote this book a couple years ago, and I actually got a chance to talk to him. The FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders. Yes, I always have my proof. Finishing up with Bob Marley. He was a revolutionary. Listen to this song he came out with called Burning and Looting, talking about Bob Marley. This morning I woke up in a curfew. Oh God, I was a prisoner too. Could not recognize the faces standing over me. They were dressed in uniforms of brutality. How many rivers do we have to cross before we can talk to the boss? All that we got, it seems to be lost. We must have really paid the cost. That's why we're going to be burning and looting at night. Burning and looting at night. He also had a song called Revolution, Stand Up, Get Up for Your Rights, talking about oppression and exploitation of the U.S. government and the government there in Jamaica where he grew up. Bob Marley, a revolutionary. Do you know it said that across Europe, Asia, and Africa, after Bob Marley's death, he had more popularity and was revered more than Muhammad and Christ combined? Oh, Brother Shareef. I didn't say it. I'm going off of the reports that I read. It said after Bob Marley's death, he had more popularity across Europe, Asia, and Africa more than Muhammad and Christ combined. What happened to our brother? Again, he was fighting against oppression. He was fighting against U.S. intervention in Jamaica. He was fighting against unruly and unjust officials there in Jamaica. He was, again, connected with the Black Panther Party and black activism. So what happened was, around 1980, around 79, a CIA informant named Carl Colby came up to Bob Marley while he was doing his tradition, which Rastafarians like, playing soccer. And a traditional gift to give Rastafarians and Jamaicans was giving them boots. I don't know why, I'm just going off the report. This CIA agent gave Bob Marley a pair of boots. When Bob Marley put his foot in the boot to try it on, he felt a wire stick him in his foot. He said, ouch, what was that? They pulled out the boot. It was a wire sticking up in the sole of the boot, stuck Bob Marley in the foot. He didn't think nothing of it until 5-6 months later. He went to play soccer. He broke his leg. His leg wouldn't heal. The bones would not heal in his leg. Come to find out, he got cancer. Many believe they circle it back to that boot incident when this wire was sticking up in the boot and stuck him in the boot. They think some kind of carcinogenous chemical was on this wire, which gave him cancer. And in 1980, Bob Marley died of cancer. Yes, Bob Marley died of cancer in 1980, and many people circle it back to that boot incident. Isn't that strange? Again, tied in with the Black Panther Party, tied in with activism, talking against the oppression of our people, and he ends up dead. And they said he was revered more than Muhammad and Christ combined. I ain't saying it. The reports are saying it. Right here in this book. What happened to Prince? The man was a vegan just a year and a half ago, and he dies from the flu? What happened to our brother Michael Jackson? Was getting ready to pay off Sony Music, about to get himself out of debt and start his own, and was about to have rights to the re-digital copies of the Beatles. He was about to be set, and he ends up dead. What happened to this doctor who prescribed him all this medicine? Is he even in jail? What'd he do, a couple of months? Very strange. What happened to Tupac? Tupac wasn't no thug. He was a revolutionary, about to join the Bloods and the Crips, about to make amends with Biggie. He was doing big things, Tupac was, and he had the ability to reach people my age and the youth. And he gets riddled with bullets on the strip, and no one ain't seen what happened. No one can't find out what happened to Tupac. So let me get this straight, America. You're almost close to figuring out it's a Loch Ness monster, that it's a Yeti and a Sasquatch, and spaceships are coming here, but you can't find out what happened to Biggie and Tupac? Awful strange. So Prince, about to go independent, gone. And telling us about how to go independent and telling us how wicked this country is with this music industry. Michael Jackson, he started waking up at the end. As loony as he was, he started waking up. That's why he made that one song, They Don't Care About Us. And they said he converted to Islam. Do you know what kind of influence he could have had if he would have continued on that track and getting them digital remastered copies from the Beatles and about to dig himself out of debt with Sony Music? He's still making money and he's been dead for 9 years. Gone. Tupac, a revolutionary, standing up for our people, about to wake up the mind, body, and soul of our people, and about to join the Bloods and the Crips. Gone. Sam Cooke with the Black Panther, not with the Black Panther Party, with the Civil Rights Movement. Good friends with Minister Malcolm and Dr. Martin Luther King. One independent. Gone. Jimi Hendrix about to fired his manager, Mike Jeffries, supported the Black Panther Party. Gone. Bob Marley supported the Black Panther Party, talking against oppression of U.S. intervention in Jamaica and talking against unscrupulous officials there in Jamaica. Gone. He ends up with cancer and dies at 36. Sam Cooke died at 33. I think Jimi Hendrix was like 34 or 35. Gone. Something ain't right, Andy. This music industry is wicked. Just offing people because they're trying to go independent and because they're trying to lift the mind, bodies, and soul of our people, and they're not selling out and talking all this foolishness about killing everyone with all these guns and smoking mollies and taking mollies and popping pills and calling our women bees and hoes. And it's the same music, this trap music, because they had a message to their music and had the ability to wake up the mind, body, and soul of our people and wanted to go independent. They go dead. You mean to tell me Prince couldn't get a doctor to cure the flu and he was a vegan? Come on now. Something ain't right, Andy. I hope you have learned something from this message. Again, something ain't right, Andy. The mysterious death of Sam Cooke, Jimi Hendrix, and Bob Marley. Reloaded. I hope you learned from this message. This is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. The Hour of Power. Subscribe and share the channel so it can lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. I hope you learned from this message. The Hour of Power with Shareef Hamid. Subscribe and share. I leave you in peace as I came. Assalamu alaikum.